Welcome to another episode of Book Depths and Insights. In this episode of Book Depths and Insights, we explore Mieko Kawakami's novel Breasts and Eggs, published by Europa Editions in 2020. Kawakami, born in 1976, is known for her first novella, My Ego, My Teeth, and the World, which won the Akutagawa Prize. The novel is divided into two books with multiple chapters focusing on themes such as financial hardship, family relationships, women's bodies, identity, donor conception, and life choices. The narrator's short story collection also touches on themes of death, transformation, and persistence. My childhood was challenging. My dad didn't have a job and spent all day watching TV and smoking. He was careless and could get angry at any moment. That's what my grandmother Komi called him, the Mull Man. Even as a kid, I could tell they didn't like each other. In that small flat, his inertia and his tendency to stir up trouble shaped our daily life. It wasn't stable at all. This early experience with a father who was physically present but emotionally absent set the tone. My sister Makiko and I learned that we weren't always safe and that adults could be frightening rather than comforting. Komi's disapproval added a sharp, critical female voice, another layer to the tension. After that, he was never seen again. But I wasn't happy. I felt a deep loss, not for him, but for my things. A doll and my favorite sweatshirt were left behind. It felt like a big part of my life had suddenly shut down. I felt like something important was missing. Holding on to things made me feel grounded. It gave me something real and mine in a world full of uncertainty. My mom, Makiko, and I ran away in the middle of the night to live with Komi. It seemed like a safe place to be, but bad things kept happening. First, my mother died. Then Komi died not long after. It was loss after loss. Those quick deaths pushed us into adulthood far too soon. Losing those anchors threw us into the unknown. We had to build our own safety net. We had to work very hard, just to get by. Komi had hidden 80,000 yen, which helped a little, but I don't remember much about the time between when my mother got sick and when Komi passed away. It was just work, work, work. I lied about my age to get a summer job at a factory where I used soldering irons, threw sparks, and packed boxes. It sounds harsh, but it shows how desperate we were. After that, we worked at a bar run by one of our mother's friends. Makiko washed dishes, and I eventually got to serve food and sake. It was a small improvement. Later, Makiko got a second job at a yakiniku restaurant to earn more money. That Makiko, now 39, a single mother, still working shifts at a pub, seems to be living almost the same life our mother did. That really hits home. The cycle of constant labor speaks volumes about how few choices we had and how hard it is to move up in society. After many years, Makiko and her daughter, Midoriko, come to stay at my flat in Tokyo. It's a scorching summer. Midoriko is very interesting, quiet, alert, even jotting down notes about plants. But Makiko is focused on one thing, getting breast augmentation surgery. She knows everything, costs, pain, recovery. I try to change the subject by asking about Midoriko or her life, but she always brings it back to the surgery. It makes me wonder, why is that so important to her? I can't help but think about what really matters to her. When I consider her, her money, and her daughter, they all seem far more important than the surgery. In a slightly surreal moment, I even find myself thinking about Makiko's nipples and telling myself they are strong, almost as a quiet protest against the artificial. Later, she casually tells me a man named Ki died. It's so abrupt. Almost cold. We also talk about a disturbing conversation she remembers about how some Buddhists believe women are impure. It underscores the heavy societal pressure women face. I get glimpses of my intellectual side amidst all this. A young man from the pub once gave me books by Faulkner and Thomas Mann, gifts that mattered deeply. I used to secretly read library books while working at the bar. It felt like a secret escape. Later, I give Midoriko some old books and share Sartre's The Wall. I remember that line. I laughed and laughed. I laughed so hard I cried. It clearly touched someone. These memories, now helping me write a novel, show my attempt to find meaning in life, despite my self-doubt. I even admit that I love reading. Literature connects us to a larger world of thought and feeling. We talk about how to use my small flat while they're here. Makiko is stressed about the electricity bill and unhappy at work. Midoriko, surprisingly independent, enjoys an outing to an amusement park. I explain motion sickness to her scientifically. Then she asks, "Why do grown-ups get drunk?" So direct it almost breaks your heart. It makes me think about my own drinking in the past. Reading Midoriko's journal entries is eye-opening. She's worried about her mom's weight loss and cough syrup use. She connects her mom's surgery plans to a news story about a teen with a boob job who was at higher risk of suicide. It's a mix of childlike worry and startling insight. Midoriko's perspective is quiet, but it reveals she's far more perceptive and anxious than Makiko realizes. As their visit ends, a feeling lingers that something is unresolved. We can see Tokyo, but it feels disconnected. When Makiko returns, late one night, I wonder if she's drunk. Our plan to see fireworks is abandoned. When they leave, the visit fades instantly, like when I saw Midoriko walking away with her hand on her fanny pack. It captures how quickly time with family slips away. The sense of connection feels brief and fragile. Sometimes I run into old co-workers from the bookshop, but I don't feel close to them. We seem to be on different paths. One friend believes in homeopathy, but would donate a kidney to her husband. Another posts photos of his son, making me feel lonelier and more uncertain about my future. I don't enjoy sex, and it's hard for single women in Japan to access sperm banks. I'm unsure whether I even want children. There's an internal conflict, a lonely battle. These get-togethers remind me that I'm not like everyone else. I'm reflecting on motherhood while grappling with personal and societal obstacles. There's a deep tension within. Then I find old photos of myself, Makiko, and Midoriko, our shared history. We miss those times and feel their loss. Around that same time, I watch a TV program about single women using sperm donation. Their faces are blurred. One woman says simply, "I just want to have my own child." That line stays with me. At first I thought, that's not for me. But her simple desire planted a seed that began to grow. It was a turning point. After that, I pull back. I don't return calls right away. Still, I start sending Makiko money each month. The change in seasons makes me feel more alone, but also sparks the thought of beginning something new. At the grocery store, I imagine a child with me. At the old bathhouse, I feel abandoned, like an empty shell. I think of Half a Dream, the story of someone searching for their father. It reflects my own journey, digging into the past and longing to belong. My retreat and searching are signs of deep inner work. So I take action. I attend a seminar on becoming a single mother by choice through sperm donation. I think deeply about it, especially the ethical and privacy issues in Japan compared to the US. I'm not rushing in. I'm considering it carefully. Life continues during this search. At a Christmas party, Makiko sends a cheerful text. Ray, an old co-worker, and I plan to have drinks. She doesn't trust her family, but unexpectedly gives me a pair of scissors from the bookshop. A sweet and sentimental gesture. It recalls a shared past and quiet understanding. Dinner with my friend Sengawa after the New Year isn't enjoyable. Her problems are tied to her wealthy family. Then I meet Aizawa, a doctor who advocates for sperm donor education. It feels different. I share my world with him by giving him my book. He tells me something personal. His grandmother once revealed that the man who raised him wasn't his real father. It creates an instant connection, a shared vulnerability. I feel safe enough to talk to him about my plan. His responses are thoughtful. As a parent, you want to know your child, he says. He shares a moving story about Noriko, a young girl with leukemia who stayed positive. These conversations feel important, unlike the dinner with Sengawa. Aizawa's sincerity reassures me. Later, I visit Ray, the same Ray from the bookshop. Her flat is a mess, but comforting. We talk about cooking and serious issues. She's furious about a case involving a paraphiliac using donor sperm. Ethics are vital, she insists. Then she says something that strikes me deeply. You should write about this. It could help so many women. It feels like support, permission, even a mission. But the journey isn't easy. My body crashes. I feel weak and hide out in a karaoke bar. The emotional weight becomes physical. Then I talk to Yuriko, Aizawa's ex-fiancée. She explains why she broke off their engagement. Not knowing his parentage was too much. His story grows more complex. Then I fall sick with a fever and feel deeply alone. Aizawa calls as I'm recovering. I tell him how I feel, about Sengawa's death, about confusion, even about my sexuality. I try to masturbate but feel nothing. It's a low point, full of vulnerability and confusion. It shows just how much I've been carrying. But I make a promise. I call Makiko and Midoriko and say, I'll be there for my birthday. It marks a return to the past, to where everything began. My old Osaka neighborhood, Shabash. Walking through it, I feel utterly alone and afraid to see the apartment again. Climbing those narrow stairs, where Komi picked me up, where Makiko and I played, where my father left, every step brings back memories. Reaching that old wooden veneer door feels electric. Coming back is symbolic. I need to face these memories to understand my present and shape my future. Then Aizawa calls unexpectedly. He says he's been thinking about our unspoken decision not to see each other. Clearing the noise. We meet at a cafe. He shares more about his breakup with Yuriko. We don't say much, but there's a quiet understanding. It feels like a reunion, a meaningful one. That renewed contact feels important. The silence speaks of a growing bond, based on honesty. Later, I see Yuriko again. She's pregnant. She looks calm, unbothered. Life is changing. It makes me think of aging, of death, of how fast time passes. I'm still having sleepless nights, still waking foggy. Then I feel something different in my body, some new tension. What does it mean? Is it worry or excitement? Finally, the story ends with me holding a newborn baby girl. Her cries are faint. Where were you? I ask her silently. You're here now. I hold her against my chest and let her cry. She is my child, the result of everything I've thought and lived through. If you found this deep dive into Breasts and Eggs by Mieko Kawakami intriguing, we encourage you to explore the book yourself. It's a thought-provoking and emotionally rich journey that opens up discussions about identity, family, and womanhood in modern Japan. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to support more insightful explorations like this one. And don't forget, stay tuned for the next episode where we'll continue unpacking powerful literary works that deserve a closer look. Thanks for listening.